This lesson is on applications of parallel lines and the properties of those parallel lines. Pause this video whenever you need to in order to get the notes down or to complete the problems. Please pause the video and complete this warm-up. Okay, so we're going to go through the warm-up together. I can see that I have two angle measures, and these are alternate exterior angles. So their measures will be congruent. With their measures being congruent, I can then say that 10x plus 3 is equal to 153. I'll get 10x is equal to 150 because I subtract 3 on both sides, so x is equal to 15. In B, 2x and 7x minus 9 are given. Those are consecutive interior angles. So they are supplementary. 2x plus 7x minus 9 will be equal to 180. 9x minus 9 is equal to 180. 9x is equal to 189, and x is equal to 21. If you happen to call these same side interior angles, that would be okay as well. You should have a note sheet to go along with the rest of this lesson. Unit 4, Lesson 4, Applications of Parallel Lines. So we're going to apply what we know about parallel lines and their relationships in order to solve for values and find angle measures. So in this first one, we just have to classify angle 1 and angle 2. So if I look very carefully at the parts in this picture, I can see that I have two lines, two parallel lines, and a transversal. I have to identify the relationship between 1 and 2. Those are inside the parallel line, so they're going to be interior angles, but they're on opposite sides of the transversal, so they're alternate. And that's it. In this next one, they tell us a whole bunch of information, but we know that we have to classify angle 1 and angle 2. So angle 1 and angle 2, I'm going to look at the parallel lines created by rays of the sun. We know that they would be parallel. And I'm going to look at this transversal. And I can see that those angles would be, again, alternate interior angles. And this problem asks, how did he know that angle 1 was congruent to angle 2? It's a property of parallel lines that alternate interior angles are congruent. Next, we'll look at a rowing crew. In order for them to move at the same speed and not turn their boat, all of those lines would have to be parallel. Okay? They have to move at the same angle. What must be the x and y values in order to ensure that these stay parallel? Well, what I'm going to do is try to identify some relationships. X is a corresponding angle. So it must be congruent to 50. So x is equal to 50. Y, on the other hand, is a consecutive interior angle, and it must be supplementary. So 50 plus y is equal to 180. So y is equal to 130. So we found our values of x and y. This next one is a little bit more complicated, but I'm sure you can understand that these posts would have to be parallel, L and M, and N and P, the rails, would also have to be parallel. So if we know that the measure of angle 1 is 115, I can use corresponding angles throughout this process to fill in at least one measure on each set of 4. Well, 16 would have to be a linear pair with angle 9, so I could say, I'm going to move that the measure of angle 16 plus 115 is equal to 180. Okay, so the measure of angle 16 would have to be 65. So now that we've erased that information, I'm going to write in some new information. We know that the measure of angle 1 is 6x, and the measure of angle 12 is 4x. I'm going to use corresponding angles to move 6x to 3, and then again use corresponding angles to move that to 11. I know that 11 and 12 are a linear pair. So I will say that 6x plus 4x is equal to 180. That gives me 10x equals 180 and x equals 18. I have to figure out the measure of 5. So what I'm going to do is figure out the measure of angle 11. So I'm going to say that 6 times 18, which is 108. So if I know that the measure of angle 11 is 108, it's an alternate interior angle with angle 5. So I know that the measure of angle 5 is equal to 108 as well. Okay. In this problem, we're looking at some pipes, and we know that the pipes are parallel. So we need to know what this angle measure would be over here. I'm looking at consecutive interior angles. Those should be supplementary. So I'm going to say that x plus 115 is equal to 180. So x should be 65. Your y is because they need to be consecutive interior angles. Okay, that's it. If you have any questions, please go back and re-watch the questions that you had trouble with, and please put a star next to any questions that you would like me to go over in class with you on Friday. Good luck on your PSAT on Wednesday.